Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for being part of the Express Trade Academy. Thank you for always subscribing to our channel. Thank you for always liking our video. That means a whole lot to me. Now let's go into what we have today. Today we are going to be dissecting risk management in forex trading. I'm going to be explaining how to calculate your risk per each trade in forex trading. Now if you are into forex trading for a while now, you will understand that forex psychology and forex risk management is the most important aspect of forex trading. In fact, this is what makes success in forex trading. Now this is what differentiates a beginner from a pro in forex trading. Now a pro can never place a trade without calculating the risk he will lose in that trade. All right, but a beginner will just see a buy and click a buy. You can see a sell and click a sell, and that's what makes you continue to fail. But if you really want to succeed, you must have to calculate how much you'll be losing per each trade. This is very, very important. You cannot lose the whole of your money or allow your money to an open market. You must calculate how much you are willing to lose per that trade. So today I'm going to be explaining everything in detail with a small calculation. Of course, you're going to be touching small calculation, how to calculate how much you'll be losing no matter how much you have in your account. So before we go, please kindly help me subscribe to the channel, like this video, and then let's move. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment section. I will always attend to it. Now this is for forex risk management, and then for us to understand forex risk management, we have to calculate the risk tolerance, how much we are ready to lose per each, how much we are ready to risk from our whole account in that trade, and then what is our stop loss. Of course, by now you should know what is stop loss. Now stop loss is something like this. All right, so if you want to place a trade, let's say you want to place this a trade, a sell, for example. So for this, where you want your stop loss to, if the market did not sell and is going buy, it should stop your losses for you. That place is called stop loss. So this place you see blue here, it's called stop loss. And for this, what we have here, we have 14.88 pips. If I increase it again, you see that we have 19.1. If I increase it again, you can see that we have. So yeah, let's say for this example, our stop loss is 25. We are going to get there. And then of course, if you want to understand risk management, you also have to learn how to calculate position size, that is the loss size. And then of course, you also have to know how to calculate how much you are losing per pips. Now the risk tolerance is how much you are willing to lose in the whole of the account. Now the loss per pips is how much you'll be losing per each movement of the price, that is pips. All right, so now let's take an example. We'll just take two examples. Number one is, now let's say the money in your account, the account size is $10,000. All right, so if you deposit the amount of, let's say $50, $100, that one is your account size. But for example, this example, let's take $10,000. Of course, $10,000 is the whole money. All right, so now the amount you are willing to lose in the whole of the account, if you take that trade, is $100. This one is an assumption. You are just assuming that, okay, I want to lose $100 if I take this trade for my $10,000. All right, now the stop loss is, of course, I just showed you how to take it. So let's say your stop loss is about 25 pips. That is a movement of price, and then one standard loss size is 100,000 units. Now let me explain something here. We have standard loss size, we have micro loss size, and we have mini loss size. Now standard loss size is, one standard loss size is 1,000 equals to 100,000 units. One micro loss size is equals to 10,000 units, and then one mini loss size is equals to 1,000 units. So let's say that the pip value per one standard loss size is 10 per pips. Now normally in forex trading, a lot of us use standard loss size. So if you want to calculate for mini loss size, you can calculate it. If you want to calculate for micro loss size, why not? You can go ahead and calculate it. But for this example, we are going to be using the standard loss size, and standard loss size, one standard loss size is 10 pips. That means that if price move in one movement, the movement of price in just one pip, you lost $10 per that pip if you are using standard loss size, and that's what we'll be using for this example. So let's start the calculation. Remember I said we were going to be calculating the risk tolerance and all these four things. So let's start with loss per pip. How much are we willing to lose per pip? Now the equation for losing per pip is, the risk amount, how much you are willing to lose in the whole of your account to that trade divided by the stop loss in pips, and the amount we are ready to lose is $100 and the pip is $25. See it here, the risk tolerance is $100, the stop loss is 25 pips, so divided by 4, divided by 25 rather, is equals to 4. So this 4 now becomes our loss per pip. So we are willing to lose $100 if we take this trade. So if the price move per each movement, we are going to be losing $4 until it gets to that $100. That's what it means. All right, so the loss per pip is actually $4. Now the next one is position size. Now position size is like lot size. If you have been in my class, I've been talking about using smaller lot size like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.10 and 1 if your account is many. All right, if your account has a lot of money. So the lot size, how do you determine that 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 1 lot size? So this is how to determine it. So the formula for it is that loss per pip divided by pip value per standard loss size. And remember that we are using standard loss size. So the loss per pip is what? 4, which we just calculated here. And then the standard loss size is what? 10. One standard loss size is equal to 10. Look at it here. So if you divide 4 by 10 is equal to 0.4 loss size. So if we're supposed to take this trade and get exactly these things we are calculating here, the loss size we are supposed to use is 0.4. Not 0.1, not 0.3, not 0.4. All right, so that's the 0.4 loss size we're supposed to use. Now, risk percentage of the account. This risk percentage that we just assume that we are supposed to use, we are just assuming that we're supposed to use one risk. How do you calculate this from all this figure? So to calculate that, we are supposed to use 1% or 2%. Remember that in risk in risk, you just take only at least 1 risk or 2 risks or 3 risks. If you're a beginner, don't use more than 3% of risk. All right? Just use at least 1% or 2% or 3%. Now if you're a pro and you have a lot of money in your account, you can now risk up to 4, up to 5. In fact, if you're a beginner, stick to 1 only and maybe sometimes 2. All right, so that's that for this. So let's say the risk amount I just said we'll be losing here is just 1. All right, and then of course let's come back please. The risk percentage, the risk amount of the whole trade, and then the account balance. The risk amount of the whole trade is 100, then the account balance is 10,000. So if we divide 100 by 10,000, it will give us 1. All right, so that's how I got that 1. All right, so now this is the risk, that's 1. Now before I show you how to, this is just like calculating it manually like we do mathematics in school, but there's another not prophetic please, there's another professional way of doing it by using the pip calculator. I'm going to be showing you that shortly, but before that, let's take the second example. All right, now this is the second example, and in this second example our account size is just $100, not $10,000. Then the risk tolerance is $2. Then the stop loss is 25 pips. We still use 25 pips. Then the one standard loss size of course is 100,000 units, and then the risk of the account I'm taking for this one is 2%. I'm just using troubleshooting so that you know. Of course, I know I said from 1 to 5. You can use from 1 to 5, but for this one we are using 2. Now the pip value per one standard loss size is still 10 movement per pip. Now what is the loss size? The loss per pip we have calculated before is risk amount divided by stop loss. In this case, the risk amount is just $2 divided by the pip, which is 25. So we are going to be losing 0.08 per movement. All right, $0.08 per movement. Now what is the loss size we're supposed to use here? Now the loss size we're supposed to use here is the loss per pip, which is 0.08 we have calculated here, divided by the pip value per standard loss size, which is 10. P value per standard loss size is always 10. All right, so if you divide it, we are going to be using 0.008 loss size. Of course, this kind of loss size exists. All right, so if you do this, it's going to give it that loss if actually you're going to lose the account. You lost the trade rather. All right, so what is the risk percentage per trade? Remember, we are using 2 for this, but how do we calculate it? How we calculate it is that this is the risk amount we are going to risk per this trade divided by the account balance, and then you can see that we are having 2 divided by 100, which is equals to times 100, which is equals to 2. All right, so that is that for this. Now there's one before we go to the pip calculator, I want you to understand how I'm doing it. If you understand, you can see that in the $100 account and I want to take a trade, I'm only risking $2. Let me see it here. I just said I want to risk only $2. It's not by mistake. I intentionally want to risk $2. That is risk. that is what I'm ready to offer. I can say I want to risk 10%. If you are risking this money, it doesn't mean that you will lose the money. If the trade go against you, that's when you lose the money. If the trade does not go against you, the money is not lost. You are going to gain it. But we are just saying that what if this trade you are taking did not go? This is what I'm about to lose. All right, so that is that for this. So you can see that I'm losing a little. Even in the 10,000 account, I'm only willing to lose $100 per each account, not $1,000, not $500, just 100. I can even reduce it to 50. And if you do that more often, you see that your account is being maximized. So this is how to do all of this, and I will now take you now to the PIP calculator where to do this calculation simply without doing all this mathematics. All right, so you have to come to Google and then you type position size calculator, or you can go to babypips.com and check one of their tools. You see pip calculator there, but just go to Google and type position size calculator. In fact, the first link we have here is from Baby Pips, so I'm going to open it in another even if you click this one, all these ones they will work for you, but I like the one from Baby Pips. All right, Baby Pips is very good. So let's open it and then let's do our calculation simple. So this is the calculator. So what is the account balance? All right, so let's say the account balance is $10,000. Okay, so this is $10,000. All right, so since this is $10,000, what is the risk percentage? The risk percentage is determined by you. All right, so how much do you want? How much risk percentage? 1%, 2%. So I always go with 1%. So I'll just put 1% here. And then what is your stop loss? Of course, your stop loss you must have calculated from the technical analysis. Say, let's say here we still have it as 25. All right, 25. This is all. This is the whole thing you need, and there's no guessing here. Everything here is determined by you. And then the next thing for you to do is choose the currency pair that you're about to take that trade on. So let's say we want to take it on GBP USD, so just choose GBP USD, and then you can see here I'll now click on calculate, and then it's going to calculate everything for you. So it's going to tell you that if you are going with these statistics, you are going to be losing $100 of this account if the trade did not go your direction. And if you are going with this, if you are going the position size is 40,000 units. So the 40,000 units, you are not supposed, you will now know that 40,000 units divided by 100 divided by 4 divided by 100, it will now give you 0.04. So you just do the calculation and get, you can see the standard loss size is 0.04. In fact, forget the position size here. Let's look at this standard loss size alone. Then the standard loss size is 0.4. Every other thing here is not valid. The most important thing here is the amount in risk, and then the amount you are risking the account, and the standard loss size you're supposed to use. So if I'm taking this trade, I'll now go to my trade, and then I'll place the trade, and then I'll place the trade using 0.04, and then I'll now use 1% of the accounts, and then of course I use 25% losses. So if that trade did not go my direction, I'm losing only $100. All right, so now let's do the second example using this PIP calculator. So let's say I only have like some of you may just be beginner and you want to just try by starting with $50 or $100. Don't be ashamed of putting it here. All right, so let's do $50 for example, and then the risk percentage is 1, and then if it's $50, I cannot lose up to 25p. So let me pick like 12, and then I choose Euro USD and I click on calculate. If I calculate, I'm going to see that I'm losing only $0.5 of my account, and then this is going to be my loss size. Now the standard loss size here is not that friendly, so you have to step up. All right, so let's say we have 20 pips and calculate. So you can see that we have 0.25, then 1%. So let's say we are losing 2%. We'll click on here. You can see that we are losing $1 of the account, and then we are using 0.05. All right, so let's say we have $100 of the account, and then we are losing 40 pips, and then we now click on stop loss. You can see that everything here has also changed. We are still using the same thing, but then the amount we are losing is now $2. So let me change this thing to 1, and then click on OK again. You can see that everything here. So please kindly follow these things I'm explaining, because this is what actually makes you, before you take any trade, ask your question why. Ask a question why before you take that trade, and of course you calculate all these things before you now go ahead to take that trade. So thank you so much for being part of this video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.